We forgot how to exercise our sovereignty. We think they're giving it to us, but they're not. We already have it. We just haven't exercised it. Sovereignty is not for them to tell us what we can or can't do.
On August 23, 1998, some 300 Native people attempted to walk 768 miles from San Diego to Sacramento in an effort to bring unification to the tribal nations of California. The walk was the vision of Robert John, a spiritual elder who speaks on Native issues at colleges and universities. He also runs sweat lodges for the California Youth Authority and conducts burial ceremonies. Robert John would lead the walk out of respect for his teachers, every step taken for healing. Songs would be sung so that the ancestors would know that they, as different but one people, are still walking and offering gratitude to all living things.
There'll be no alcohol or drugs with any of our organizations, no firearms or weapons. It's not about abusive language. And that all local and state traffic laws will be observed. And the police are really checking us out right now.
All the territories, okay, Indigenous territories, will be greeting the people of each nation, each land, with sacred tobacco. Some of the leaders will be meeting us and walking us through their territories, which will be a beautiful thing.
So when we go from the Sueños to the Tongva to the Chumash, each nation has their own ways of dealing with people who come in. So when we go there, we'll be meeting with their elders, and we must approach them in a sacred way. We offer them the tobacco, we ask permission to go through their territories, and they will give that permission or not.
If we come up against something and they say that we can't go through, say we give them our offering, the tobacco and the sage, and ask for their blessing to go through, and they still say no.
We go around them. We do not, of anybody, of all the people, if we cannot honor our own people, if they say, we'd rather you don't come through here because we feel threatened or we're worried or we don't want it, whatever the reason might be, we have to honor that and step and go around.
Unification is an important concept that we carry in our minds but has not really occurred throughout the state with all tribes coming together. People have to remember that in pre-contact times, the California Indians were not just one tribe similar to the Lakotas or the Hopis or the Navajos. We were many, many nations.
The purpose of the walk was to establish unification of the 278 tribal nations of California into a strong, unified force. However, unification is difficult, and there are opposing forces. Native tribes like the Hupa, Tabatalaba, and Chumash consider themselves as different from one another as the United States does from Mexico or Canada. There are also the economic factors. Some Native tribes that are federally recognized have become wealthy through casino gaming, causing a disparity with other Native tribes, particularly those that are not federally recognized. But the walkers believe that all tribal nations together can achieve what individually they would not be able to obtain on their own. As they are confronted with new challenges such as forced assimilation and threats to their sovereignty and existence, the strength of a unified people is paramount. The walk represents the beginning of this unifying prayer.
Before there was a United States, our Native people were here. And we demand that the United States treat us with dignity and respect, because we are the first people of this land.
Angelo Lovato, Pomo and Koopa.
Cindy Alvitre, Gabrielino Tongva Nation in Southern California.
Lillian Valenzuela Robles, the Hashima Nation, known as the Guareño.
Steven Cecina, the Ohlone Nation, also the Chumash, Yokut, and Tongva people. Robert John, Seneca, and Tabata Labo from the east and Central Valley, up by Kern River.
Pala, just 40 miles east of San Diego, was the starting point for the walk. The walkers would have to cover over 30 miles to make it to their first campsite at San Luis Rey Mission.
We said, well, we need unity through the tribes and everything, so this walk was the sovereignty and also to unify all the tribes within the areas, you know, to come together as one and do this walk from here to Sacramento.
We were going to have some cell phones for the group and the band.
It's going to be good for the ancient ones. It's going to be good for our ancestors because they'll be speaking again.
There was a lot of good times with a lot of people. A lot of people came and they fed us, and we laughed a lot of times. But I think the best day was right here in the morning, the first day. Everybody's hearts were open, we were ready, strong, and we could have done anything.
The walk started at Pala. Very, very symbolic because those people were removed from Warner Hot Springs. They were forced, it was a forced walk to the land that they now occupy at Pala Indian Reservation, a tiny, tiny little piece of land.
Clarence Atwell Jr. blessed Robert John and Mr. Lovato with sage as they led the beginning of the walk.
Ready?
Traditionally, a walker was a messenger. And the California Indian history has been a tragic one that we're recovering from. But with the walkers, they became those messengers, those people who had the obligation of being physically, spiritually, and culturally strong enough to take the message across the state of California.
Oh, God. I'm just sitting here, my little heart's pounding like crazy. I'm so happy right now, man. I can't stand it. I just love this. Walking down the highway, everybody looks just like me. It's great. Feels good. Feels good. Feels
Steve Cecina is a traditional singer and dancer.
I'm from a federally unrecognized tribe, how they say. We're working towards federal recognition right now. And I think with unification, each tribe in California will recognize each other as a sovereign nation, which would help us all.
There's a large majority of California Indian tribes that are not federally recognized, that are considered to be terminated, that are considered to be extinct. There is congressional legislation in the making right now that would like to eliminate any attempts at federal recognition.
I feel great. It's good. It feels good. Look at all these people, man. They're happy. And they got together. I like watching the people respond to us on the highway. They're real nice and enthusiastic.
Keith Masumi, although not a member of a California tribe, is walking to show his support.
Keeping a good pace. Only one blister. We're all right.
I got my eagle right there up on the hill, just now landed.
Yeah, I need a traffic control person down here at Star Track Highway.
Okay, I will. Oh.
What are the obstacles so far?
Sore feet. Probably fast pace. We got to go 22 miles. We got a little bit of a late start this morning, but that's good.
California has the largest Indian population in the country, and the United States government needs to absolutely recognize us, as well as the state governments in particular too, need to recognize us as we are sovereign nations.
And it was brought by the peacemaker who said that they took one arrow and they could snap it. But when he put 5 arrows together, no man could break it. So this is the same idea of the basis of the Confederacy, and the same would go for the California tribes. One tribe like this could snap, but if you bring them all together, no one could break them.
The Bureau of Indian Affairs is the hierarchy of the United States government that has been placed with the charge of Native people.
I went to a meeting with the BIA, and they said they're writing a policy for all Indians, and especially California. And they raised the blood degree, so that means they are defining what a California Indian is.
Native American people are the only people in this country who have to prove that they are Indian. You don't go up to a black person and say, what's your blood degree? You don't go up to an Asian person, what's your blood degree, or white person. It's always Indian people.
We must unify, take our life in our own hands. We decide who we are.
We had 2 people shoot the finger at us.
I know, someone mooned us.
I intend to go all the way to Sacramento and to do whatever it takes to get all of us there. We started out together, and I don't know how many are going to be there by the time we get to Sacramento, but whoever it is, we're going to walk in there strongly. And whatever it takes, we'll take care of each other.
It was a journey of pain. And I was thinking about my grandmother all this time and how they walked from Warner's, the struggles that they had, and that's where the pain was.
Finally, the walkers arrived at the La Sueño Nation at San Luis Rey Mission.
Each original nation was to give us a passport, and they would put a feather or some medicine on that staff to give us their protection to walk through their land. Because when they tied those feathers on, it wasn't just a feather. It represented all their ancestors, all the ones before them, the ones who took care of that land. They were giving us protection in that way. So that staff represented the unity of the people.
I'm honored as the captain of the Lusitano tribe of San Luis Rey to be the first leg to offer them their hospitality and a stay for their first long journey.
A lot of blisters. You're gonna see a lot of blisters, a lot of dehydration. Until probably about day 3 or day 4, you're going to start seeing people with signs and symptoms of dehydration, fatigue, maybe heat stroke.
We're getting ready to go to Pendleton, and because of the bombings in Afghanistan and that, they won't let us walk through Pendleton, but the staff must be carried every foot of the way, so they're allowing us to run the staff through with 6 runners, and the runners, they have to run the whole 40 miles today.
Scared. No, I feel pretty good. We're gonna run through Pendleton. We're gonna run through the Marine Corps base.
I'm only gonna give like about 2 to 3 miles though, because my feet are hurting.
My brother trained there. He's not here with us anymore, but he trained there. So his spirit's gonna be with us and help us through this.
The runners would now carry the staff to the Marine Corps base, Camp Pendleton. Robert Cecina and his brother Steve, Julian Golett, Keith Masumi, John Raydog, and drinking water, whose shorts were rendered useless after an accident, but continued anyway with just a towel around his waist.
I'm running to keep our way of life alive. Native sovereignty.
Sovereignty for our people, for the right to pray, for the right to live, for my children, running for my wife, running for my family, running for a change in me.
Running with my brother, that was very powerful for me. We were able to run through Pendleton together, you know, so I thought that was very, very special for me, for us to be there together, you know, for each other.
Where's the other road take us back?
Where does the other road take us?
We gotta make it so somebody radio so we don't go down the wrong road again.
The route. Robert knows the route.
What route?
I mean, we ran here, we don't know where we're going?
Right here. This is the one we're going by. Okay, there we go.
I don't tell you anything.
All right. This doesn't show Pendleton, right? Indians don't get lost.
We're right
They're
here.
waiting for us up here.
Okay, so we just go back into the gate and run that road.
All right. My towel's falling off.
Oh, brother, your skirt's coming down. You need a size 2.
The runners caught up with the rest of the walkers who were bussed ahead.
Yeah. Woo. Woo. That's cold.
That's good.
These guys were good. Early. They even let me run a half a mile and watch me die at the end of the half mile. I said, you know what? 33.
I think the toughest day maybe was the second day. It wasn't my bleeding feet. It wasn't deceit. It wasn't betrayal. The second day, I couldn't find my son. And he had crawled in a tent, went to sleep, and we couldn't find him. And I thought something happened to him, and I questioned, what the heck am I doing here? What am I doing for anything if I can't take care of my own kids? So throughout the whole walk, I had a hard time trying to keep an eye on my son at the same time.
What do you think this land looked like 400 years ago?
I can imagine it, but I'm more concerned what it's going to look like 400 years from now, and that's why I'm walking. Not for yesterday, but for tomorrow.
This is the proper way to keep your feet dry here.
Please lay on your back.
Work it in the toes real good. Keep your shoes nice and snug. And you should be okay.
After 4 days, there were now 50 or so Corps walkers left as they reached their campsite at Cal State Long Beach. As the walkers arrived, they were cleaned off with sage.
We use the sage of California so we can be open to the strength that we need and the blessings that come, and the prayers and the songs. And so we give this and we do these things in a good way for the people, and we bless them with the sage, the smoke, to clean them.
Hello, my brothers and sisters. We welcome you in Povangna.
And unification of the California people. Accept your offering. Exchange for passing through your land. So I offer this to you.
So Andy came in the absence of his father. And I know that Andy, inside of his heart, is good. And to stand here and represent the chief of the Tongva Nation, I know that he was a very nervous person right now, but he's very proud. You know, he looks a lot comfortable right now. He was sweating a little while ago, but I'm very proud of Andy. And the land that you stand on, it's a very sacred site that we've been trying to preserve. It's only 22 acres left of where our Creator gave us our human forms. And we're defending it. We're coming close to finalizing that. It's Grandma Morningstar's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. Yesterday.
I want to say welcome, enjoy, sit down and rest, and enjoy each other's company in the land of the Tongva people and for all people. We have to keep that in heart that we are one.
Indians walking to state capitol. Don't call us Indians.
The walk received little media coverage, and when it did, it was often inaccurate. Prop 5, the legislative initiative to allow Indian gaming, was often confused with the spirit of the walk.
A lot of things that weren't supposed to be there, like Yes on 5, that wasn't the whole issue. We had some people from these casinos. We explained it to them that it was just a prayer walk. It didn't have nothing to do with the political part, because we didn't want nothing to do with the political things.
Here on this ground, the ceremonies are traditional. Across the street, they're building a casino. Can they exist? Time will tell.
But if it has to be that way, and if we could do that way, and help ourselves as a tribe, then yeah, it's good.
The choices of some people has been to enter into gambling casinos. Well, the government sees that and they say, wait a minute, we gave you this land, but you can't use it this way. We use our land the way we choose to use our land.
The sad part is changing the way, the life of our people. The culture aspect of it, it's dying out. There's too many other things out there now that stirs them in another direction. Like gang-related things, some of the graffiti, the rap, some of the interest and everything culturally isn't there anymore.
Indian gaming is an issue that has divided many tribes. One elder said, "Our ancestors hunted game to feed their families. Now we have gaming, which we can use to feed our families. But at what expense does this gaming have on our future? Each morning after the sunrise ceremony, Robert John would discuss traditional values.
If I let my arm hang for 1 year, say, it will atrophy and die. And why? Why? Just because I don't talk to it. It's the same analogy that if we don't do the ceremonies to other life forms on this planet we call our Mother the Earth. Traditional people address all life forms. We have ceremonies for the trees, the animal, plants, sun, stars, everything. All of the natural world we address. So in that kind of way, we must continue with our ceremonies, that it is the thing to do so that life continues here on this planet.
Oh man, you go in front of him, you know what? Trust me, he'll pull you.
Good old call again.
When I know that our water is polluted, when I know our air is polluted, and it may sound like rhetoric to some people, but the earth is very, very sick. And who's going to take the steps not to care about something, but to actively care for it? Who's going to do that? Well, I can tell you right now, it's Native people.
This is the village of Saingna, the ancient village of Saingna from the Tongva people. And we were actually visited by those people last night. And this village is targeted for development. This wetlands, it's one of the very few wetlands on the west coast, not just California, but on the entire west coast. And Steven Spielberg is planning on building DreamWorks here, Playa Vista, they're calling it. And we've been trying to save it. And not just for the Indian people, but for all people to enjoy. He wants to donate some money to restore the wetlands. It's already restored. It's the way it's supposed to be, the way we feel. So it's my prayer that Baiona wetlands is preserved in the traditional manner that the Creator had created it. So
construction for Playa Vista was stopped just a few days after this prayer. But a year and a half later, construction began again.
Are meant for people in front of them. But I know a lot of them are for our support, and I appreciate that. It gives me the strength to take one more step.
My heart is screaming right now. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Can I ask what's going on, guys?
Yeah, we got flyers.
This is private property. You can go to the city, but this parkway belongs to the building. You can't. This is private property. This is not city property.
You want us to stop here? Is what you're saying?
That's what I'm asking you, if you would. I don't have a problem with what you guys want to do, but unfortunately, I'm not able to have anything going on the...
We're just walking this.
We're just resting is all we're doing.
Not a problem, but if you got a group of people here and you're sitting down on the lawn, I've got a lot of older fussy people. It's not a very appropriate. It's not appropriate.
I'm American Indian. I'm hip.
It'd be easier on me, and it would be a lot easier on you guys in the long run. If you can, just move a little further on. I'd appreciate it. mean, I understand where you're going, but it's not for me. It's, mostly for those guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Thank you, gentlemen. Anything you want to do on Ocean down there, it's the city property. It's not a problem. But this parkway becomes his private property.
This is my land, and this is what we've got to do with.
Well, I got a lot of owners that are real fussy about having anybody out in front of their property.
Oh, thank you for telling us.
My property, I don't want to hassle. I don't want you guys to get hassled. Make it easy on everybody. It's cool. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
That's what they worship. Then give them a few coins so that they can keep praying.
We're paying to sit right here.
Jim.
For all of you, I asked Uncle to help me with my anger. I wanted to lash out so badly at that man, but I knew that that's not what this was about. This is the land where my people came from, and we're still here. We still consider ourselves the caretakers of this land because we never once gave it up. And to have a gesture such as that a while ago, I guess in reality, now that I'm realizing it, is that it's pain that I have. It's not anger, it's pain. But I think that's why we're walking. It's for our sovereignty.
We walking.
Before they began walking again, Robert John and the walkers prayed over the building. Meanwhile, Gayle and Kelley and Clarence Atwell Jr. went ahead of the walkers to Sacramento, to the negotiation table with city officials for approval on the speeches that would take place on the Capitol lawn. After the meeting was adjourned, Sheriff Hank T. Jones took Gayle and Mr. Atwell Jr. on a tour. Underneath the dome of the Capitol, murals depicted indigenous people welcoming the Spanish.
They look like slaves to me.
When the Spanish arrived in California, there had been about 70,000 people living along the coast, but forced labor, harsh conditions, and European diseases decimated the native population. By 1830, only about 15,000 had survived.
When the invaders or the white people came, they took our land. The mission church took our language and our culture. They separated us from our villages and our families. Many of us lost our identity. We've had a struggle, but we're survivors.
What the world needs now is respect for differences, but also to find a common ground that really unites us.
Part of the healing of the walk was to visit Spanish missions on the way to Sacramento. The walkers visited San Gabriel Mission, Purísima Mission, Mission Nuestra Senora, San Luis Obispo Mission, Mission Santa Cruz, Carmel Mission, and Mission San Jose. Surprisingly, Father Virgil at the Santa Barbara Mission offered an invitation to the walkers to be witness to an apology he was going to make on behalf of the church for the devastation of native cultures in California.
And so when we got there, he asked me to speak first. I spoke and explained a little bit about what we were doing. And then as he spoke, I thought to myself, well, he's not going to apologize. He's going to renege on this offer to apologize.
But the Spanish government, together with the church. So there was a strange union of church and state. And most of the major decisions, like even the building of the mission and so forth, was done by the Spanish government and later on by the Mexican government. If it weren't Spain, it would have been Russia or the English. Without any padres, you can imagine what would have happened to the natives then. If you think they were treated harshly on the Spanish and the mission padres, the treatment would have been much more severe under any other European country.
But you know, I'm answering for my own actions, right? Between me and the Creator.
And part of what I told that priest was very simple. I said, why did you do the things to us that you did? And he said, I had to understand that there was bureaucrats and kings and all kinds of things going on. I said, well, between me and the Creator, there's no filter. I said, you guys got so many filters in your prayers that no wonder no one hears them. And so that's how you go about doing abuses, because your prayers are filtered out.
I drove down this morning so that I could hear your words, because what I was told was that you were going to apologize. I didn't quite hear the word I apologize.
Well, I'm clear. I'll say it clearly. I apologize and ask forgiveness.
A long time ago, when these missions were built, the Catholic Church said they were holding the land in trust for the indigenous people of this area until we became capable of taking care of that land. Of course, we'd been here more than 10,000 years before they got here. But they had to wait till we got capable. Well, I think we're capable.
Yeah.
And that's where I would see the sincerity. Would be when the land starts to come back.
I don't see where, now that the Catholic Church is established, that it can give up that land. You know, this is over 200 years, and I understand what they're saying, but I don't know what the chances of having that done are.
It's almost a joke, because they are so nearsighted. What's their 200 years as compared to 150,000 years, or since the original land was made, since the people came? The Creator made us here. I think that man, for sticking his head out probably to risk who he was and saying, you know, he apologizes for the church. But I believe the real apology got to come from the head of that church, the Pope. And I believe, like the Chumash said, give us back our missions. Our people built these churches, and let us do with what we decide with them.
With a little convincing, Father Virgil allowed the walkers to camp on mission grounds. Now the walkers would prepare for what would be their most grueling day. They would have to walk 17 miles to the foot of Keiko Canyon, then 10 miles up a 7% incline, and eventually, to make up for time, hand the staff off to runners where they would take it to Lake Cachuma.
Well, many of our people, when the missions and the Spanish took over, went underground. In California, as probably a lot of you know, the first American governor in California passed a law, $50 reward for native scalps. That was men, women, and children.
Uncle, you need anything?
Dry sauce.
Yeah,
Dry
I do too.
Dry sauce. I don't even know if you have it.
I believe our prayers have absolutely been strong enough. My continued prayer is that all the leaders open up their hearts to what can be. There's a yearning for me to go home, be with my family, but I'm here, and in the most humblest way that I can be, so that it will not lie on me if our prayers aren't answered.
You're an animal.
Oh, gotta get the staff up there for the runners before daylight's gone. Oh. Okay. Oh.
I feel so good. Oh, man, look! Look what I have in my hand! Look! Oh! Surround him. Oh, God. Go ahead. Tani here. Huh? We have to run with both staffs. A little wet. Another one?
I like the story about we went to each mission and prayed.
Are we ready?
Not in the churches, but in the cemeteries. And we asked permission, and we asked them to join us. And there was just a small number of us, under 100, maybe under 50, at various times. But the CHP in Sacramento tracked us, and they thought there was 10,000. I even heard that most politicians left Sacramento because they thought that all the Indians were walking. And yet, maybe they were.
760 miles, 22 days later, the walkers arrived at the edge of Sacramento. They spent their first night inside since starting the walk. The last and greatest test would be Sacramento.
Our biggest obstacle has been our own people, and I don't mean the people in our group. I mean other Native people who have wanted to take over.
People were trying to steal our signs and send us different ways. And it was a little confusing the last day. And I said, I'm ready to go home now. It was very hard to stay with your heart open the whole time, and I got hurt a lot.
The next day, the walkers had lunch at the site. They were going to camp there, but it was not meant to be. And now there was the pain of realization that there were those actively working against the walk.
I don't know where, don't know why, don't know what.
A couple of individuals, they said, well, we should have recognition and everything else, and we were with the walk and all this stuff, and it was in a personal vendetta to get recognized and stuff.
Many of the walkers were disillusioned. The reception in Sacramento was not what they expected. They walked to local union ILWU, where they were given permission to camp. When they arrived, James Dominguez, a California man, provided teepees for the walkers, and they were grateful for this offer. But some people joining the walk in Sacramento objected.
Questions as to these lodges are not California. Okay. And they specifically meant the teepees. These are not California lodges. And my response to that is, that's correct. And neither is none of these tents. They're not California lodges either. All we needed was shelter. And we had people giving us shelter. Those people who want to nitpick about it, they would not build any traditional California lodge for us to stay in. I mean, we stayed in a motel the night before. I didn't see them giving us a place to stay.
People thought we wouldn't make it. We couldn't stay as a core group. We couldn't stay unified ourselves, And they're full of bullshit. We did it. We did it. We're here. We're here. And we're still together.
The doc told me I'm off my feet for a week. I said, as soon as we're done, I'm off my feet for a week. It's been harder wearing shoes than it has been not wearing shoes. We didn't wear shoes today, and it was great. I ran without them the other day, and it was great.
The things in the way couldn't stop this walk. They couldn't stop that dance, that spiritual drive that comes together as people open their hearts.
I've been sitting here for a day and a half watching that last mile. I could see where we're going. And there's things that we had to do before we could even begin that last couple of miles, or the last mile and a half, or whatever it is. There's things that needed to be cleaned up. We needed to be cleaned up a little bit more, and this timing is right. We have all these spirits, these grandmas and grandpas with us.
Okay, let's go. Go. Too fast.
We have ancestral memories that are coming back to us. And I'm happy that I'm at this point in my life that I see the good things that are coming to us.
I think we learned endurance, but I think you had to have heart. You had to care. We will endure. There's no question about that.
I see the future as being strong for California people. Yeah, I see a strong future for us. I see unification. I see unification.
I think it's interesting.
I don't know what they're doing, but whatever it is, I guess it's for a good reason.
Save our sovereignty. But isn't that about Prop 5, basically?
I'm not sure what they're parading for, but I'm encouraged to see it.
I wasn't even aware of the walk.
After coming 768 miles and averaging 20 to 40 miles a day, the walkers took that first spiritual step towards unification. Just like their ancestors, they had walked from village to village, from clan to clan. They had prayed at the missions for their ancestors. They had asked permission to travel through each nation's territory. They had walked not just for themselves, but as the caretakers for the land, air, and water. They walked for everyone.
We came here because this is the seat of political activity. The politicians in this particular house are not the ones we are looking to affect. We are looking to affect the tribal chairs.
For 4 days, people from all different tribes contributed.
Sovereignty to me is a political word for freedom. It has everything to do with freedom of religion, freedom of education, freedom to raise our children, freedom to walk. We could do all these things with unification, sovereignty.
It is our natural condition, above and beyond state and federal governments, colonial governments that are still trying to dominate us.
We all want the same things, and that is to educate our children. That is the right to be free in choice.
We need a commitment from everybody, especially the decision makers. The decision makers can bring us together.
So the leaders need to hear that, and they need to take it back to their own people.
I did what I had to do was to walk from San Diego to Sacramento.
With one voice, many hearts.
We are the people. Stand up together.
It tells me that I didn't pray for nothing. I didn't walk for nothing.
We walk for everyone.
I've been going for days to pull away so I don't cry like a big idiot. And I got to cry like a big idiot in my tent, so that's that.
Hey, 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 hey,